Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm here with a massive Beyblade unboxing. So, as the title says, I spent $100 on all this stuff, and I'm not the type to spend that much at once, but of course, there was a lot of good releases recently, so I had to cop all of them. And just real quick, big shout out to the plug, Leo Burst. He hooked it up really good and even included a freebie. But yeah, just big shout out to him. I will post his channel down below. Make sure you guys go check him out. Anyway though, we got all this new stuff here, and I know other people have already unboxed it, but I'm still going to unbox the stuff for you guys. I'm just going to pack it into one video. Hopefully it's not too long, but yeah. With that being said, we're going to get right into it, and as you guys could see, there's this brand new Cho-Z Valkyrie. So I think I'm going to start off with this guy. We're going to put this stuff to the side, and then we're going to focus on this. So here is the front of the packaging. It is B127, and you guys probably already know about the gimmick. The wings do come out, and it's owned by Vault. Obviously, comes with a proto launcher, info on the sides. The gimmick on this thing is pretty interesting to say the least, and I'll get into it once I unbox it. But there you guys have it. Pretty awesome packaging, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, let's open it up. Alright, so here we have the sticker sheet and instructions. Stickers seem pretty easy to do. They're nice big pieces, but you always got to sticker your Valkyries, otherwise they just look kind of weird. But we'll be doing that later. And then we got the ripcord for the proto launcher. This thing is trash. Don't even bother trying to use this thing. It's just not good. And now we got the Beyblade. So I'm going to do my best to get it out without damaging it. I'm going to use this sharp X-Acto knife. So here we go. Alright guys, here we go. We're going to start off with the driver, which is called Evolution. So this thing is very reminiscent of Variable, which was on Victory Valkyrie. It's pretty much the same thing, but on a different type of tip. This thing feels kind of more rubbery, and I think it's a little bit taller. It's also less wide. So obviously the gimmick here is that it has these spikes, which will wear off over time, and then they finally expose the true part, which is called its awakening. So once you fully wear it down, it becomes a pretty much giga rubber flat, or I guess a big wide rubber flat. And that's pretty insane. There's already videos of that, but I might make a video on this part alone later. Maybe some kind of mod, who knows. But anyway, it's a pretty cool part. Now we're going to move on to the disc, which is called Zenith, or Zenith, whatever you want to call it. So this is actually a disc combined with a frame, so you can't take it apart. It is all one piece, and this thing is actually pretty heavy from what I heard. So is this disc going to be useful? I think it might, just because it is a three-sided disc, so it might be good for like attack types, and just because it is heavy. So I think it's interesting to see that Takara decided to bring back a letter disc instead of a number disc. Definitely really unique. As for the disc itself, it's like a three-sided disc with a rubber, kind of plasticky rubber frame. I do think these pieces are rubbery, or some type of rubber. They do feel a little bit different, and then obviously the frame is a nice red color. So this does remind me a lot of just the Vortex frame. So I do think that it's just a different take on it, and it's just one piece now, so pretty cool overall. And then lastly, we have the layer, which is Cho-Z Valkyrie. So this thing looks really weird because I didn't put stickers on. I'll probably be doing that either at the end of the video, if not after the video. So stickers take a long time to do, guys. But yeah, here's the beast of a Bey. And gosh, this layer is just huge. It is really wide and big. And I'm just impressed at like what kind of, like how nice it looks. There's no other way to describe it. Takara did a pretty cool job on this. Though I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of shocked to see that there's really no metal at all. I don't even know if these bits are metal or plastic. Kind of hard to tell, but just a little bit of a different take on Valkyrie itself. It's definitely much different than Winning Valkyrie. And it's cool to see that they're kind of moving to this gimmick, which I'm going to cover now. So from what I understand, if you launch this at a high RPM, these burst stoppers activate, which I think you can bring out manually. Yeah, so these wings come out, which one of them is a burst stopper. So this wing here, it has this tab that comes out, and that prevents the Beyblade from bursting. And that seems pretty OP in theory, but from what I heard from other people that own this, is that it's really hard to bring out the wings in battle. So you have to be launching really hard to bring them out. And even this one is like having a hard time coming out. So these two do come out, and they just kind of add a little bit more contact points, and I do wish they were rubber. Unfortunately, they're not. It's just a plastic. But there you have it. That's pretty much the gimmick. You also can't use a level chip on this, unfortunately. So I do guess, or I guess it is metal, so it does have some metal on it, but not enough for my liking. Either way though, the design is awesome. Just look at that Valkyrie. That looks sick. Alright, so now we're going to put it together. And here we go. So yeah, this thing looks awesome. Of course, it's missing stickers. Once I put it on though, it's going to look much better. Alright, so the next unboxing, we're going to take it one step at a time. We're going to save the best for last. And now we're going to move on to the Special Edition Archer Hercules B00. So this is a WBBA exclusive, hence why it's a special recolor and special packaging. It is a sick booster. It comes with Archer Hercules 10, I think Cross, and then a Excel Dash. And that's the most interesting part here. Excel Dash, another Dash driver to get. I'm super stoked to try it out. And then, of course, Archer Hercules and 10 and Cross. Overall, this whole booster is awesome. It's got a really good selection of parts. As for some background info with this, it is a special recolor, of course, but it's in collaboration with some kind of YouTube Japanese group. So they got their own Beyblade made, which is pretty awesome. I wish that would happen for me, but it's probably not. Anyway, we're going to open this bad boy up. And because it is a booster, it doesn't come with a launcher. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so here are the instructions and sticker sheet. Once again, lots of stickers for Archer Hercules. This is going to take a while to do. And now we got the booster. We're going to carefully remove it without damaging anything. And check those out, man. So many colors. From what I understand, each color represents a certain member of this group, so that's why it's a really colorful Beyblade. Probably the most colorful Beyblade of all time, if I'm being honest. So we're actually going to start off with the layer this time. So this layer is of course Archer Hercules, but with a pretty crazy recolor. So we could see a lot of colors here. The center is like a light blue. The metal bows are a dark blue. The actual Archer bows here are, what is it? It's orange, and then there's a little bit of yellow on these ends. So it's a pretty colorful layer. I guess the center piece here is black, I guess, with yellow eyes. And then the bottom is more of that light blue plastic with the orange. So this thing is sick. It's definitely a beautiful layer here. I love the combination. Despite being a lot of colors, it actually works out pretty well in the end. And if you guys don't know, Archer Hercules is one of the most powerful layers in the game. It's really good for stamina and defense, and it's just pretty hard to burst. So it's a really, really powerful layer. But there you guys have it. It's just another way to get this thing, and it's by far one of the best recolors, in my opinion. Next, we have the disc, which is 10. So this disc is from Revive Phoenix, and it's one of the heavier discs. I think it's tied up with 0, so it's tied up for the heaviest disc right now, and this thing is crazy. So it's a really solid disc with a really, really smooth underside. So this thing is good for LAD. It will like kind of just glide on the stadium. So if you want to get this disc, this is a good way to get it besides Revive Phoenix. You can't go wrong with this disc. You can use it for just about everything. I'd probably recommend using it more for stamina and defense though. It's pretty much the same purpose as 0. And then here we have the frame Cross. So we haven't seen this in a while. This is actually a really good frame just because the contact points are pointing outward. So you can use this both in left and right spin. And this thing actually does have good LADs. So this thing will kind of just glide against the stadium, and it will just allow for a little bit more stamina towards the end. And it's also like a nice pink color. We don't see a lot of pink parts, so I think that's awesome that they are including more of these. And lastly, probably the thing I'm most hyped about is Excel Dash. So this is another Dash driver. Of course, it has the red plastic here, and it has a stronger spring. And because it is Excel, I think it's going to be useful for attack. Though I think Zephyr might already outclass it. I think Zephyr does have more stamina. But yeah, this thing is pretty nice. It's a nice kind of, I guess, brown color maybe. I'm kind of colorblind, so this thing kind of looks brown to me. You guys can tell me what color you think it is. But yeah, pretty cool. And so now we're going to put this bad boy together. Ooh, so yeah, this thing clicks hard, thanks to the driver. Also, this layer just doesn't burst at all, so this is a pretty solid combo, but if I'm being honest, I'd probably swap out the driver with a stamina driver. Archer Hercules is much better, but other than that, this would make for a really, really solid competitive combo. If you just switch this out with Bearing or Eternal, you're pretty much set, so it's a pretty sick buy. I would totally recommend this. You can't go wrong with the selection of parts. Like I said, you get 10 Cross, Excel Dash, and even Archer Hercules, so definitely a solid buy. Now it is limited edition, so it might be on the more pricey side, but if you can come across it, I would totally go for it. It's a nice solid buy. Alright, so that makes 2 unboxings down. Now we got the big stuff here. This is probably the most hyped release right now. It is the B128 Cho-Z customized set. Now, if I'm being honest, I was almost not going to get this set because it is expensive. This is pretty much costing me like probably 50 bucks. So it's a pretty expensive set. On eBay, you're finding it for like 60 to $70. It's expensive for a few reasons. Number one, it is a big set, so it's obviously going to it's going to cost more. And it also comes with a really good selection of parts. And then lastly, it does include the new Spriggan, which is, I believe, Cho-Z Spriggan. The final evolution of Spriggan, probably, I'm not sure, but everyone typed about it. You know, it's Spriggan, everyone loves Spriggan. Even I do to an extent. But yeah, this is a pretty major set. Everyone was anticipating it, and I'm just really excited to open it up. It has a lot of interesting parts, especially Quest and then Orb Aegis and Spriggan. It's a cool mix of parts. I even love that Crash Ragnarok. I love the fact that we got another release of this. It is like a ghost version though, so that's sick. And then even a Volcanic Dash and Cycle and another Bloody Longinus. It's just a crazy selection. And then of course that outer. That's like probably one of the best parts in the set maybe. But here we go. So we're going to take a look at the side. It's a pretty big box. That's why I can't get it in the shot entirely. But yeah, you guys get the gist of it. It's a lot of Beyblades. 4 Beyblades total. The back shows all the Beyblades you're getting here. Yeah, just a lot of stuff. But here we go. We are going to unbox it now. And geez, this thing is just huge. Yeah, okay. So for the actual box, I feel like this box is like way too large for its own good. Okay, check out these huge instructions. It's got it all. And then we got these stickers, which are actually just stuck to the background. So this makes for a pretty cool backdrop, I'm not gonna lie. But here we go, we're gonna carefully remove these. Okay, so this is an entire sticker sheet, not just like a little one, but like a whole strip. It has all the stickers you need, and this is going to take a lot of work to stickerize them. So I'm also going to be doing this off camera. I now have so many Beyblades to stickerize. That's going to take a lot of work, but here we go. So all the Beyblades are in this kind of plastic. We're going to just carefully remove them, and I just noticed that some of the parts are just kind of tied in, so we're going to remove those carefully. Okay, so I'm just going to start probably from the right to the left. So we're going to start off with the Bloody Longinus, and all the frames just came out. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so we're just going to be keeping this in the background, and we're going to focus on the Bloody Longinus combo. So I think I'm just going to make it easier for myself by putting the frame on ahead of time. And here we go. So this is the Bloody Longinus layer, and there was a lot of hype around this at first, but then people kind of realized it's just kind of meh. It is a solid layer, but it's not that good, I'd say. I do think that the design is awesome though. It's got the Longinus heads and the Longinus in the center. It's also a Cho-Z layer, of course. It's got plenty of metal, and this recolors is nice. I do love this color scheme. I do wish it was a little bit better, though. It's pretty solid for same spin matchups, but if you're facing it against anything else, it's just going to burst out pretty easily, but it's all right. And then for the disc and frame, we got the one dash disc with the dagger frame. So this is pretty much the exact same combination that was given for Buster Excalibur. And I do think this was intentional. This was pretty much another way to get the right part set for Buster Excalibur. just buying the dagger frame in a separate set is kind of like DLC, and I don't like that. So that's also what Kartomi is giving their buyers another opportunity to get this disc and frame combo. And overall, the one dash disc, I can't say much about it, but I do know the dagger frame is actually pretty decent for attack. So that's cool. And then lastly, we do have this driver, which is kind of like different. It's a cycle. I don't think we've seen this in a while. It's like a nice light, kind of almost like a light yellow, light green maybe. And it is just a pretty basic driver. It has a free spinning ring, and it's actually all right for stamina and defense. Like, it's okay, but definitely not the best. And so putting this combo together makes for a pretty interesting combo, to be honest. Yeah, Bloody Longinus attack with one dash, dagger, and then cycle. So pretty interesting to see this. Colors kind of go well, I guess. I think the cycle's kind of out of place here, but everything else works really well. All right, moving on. We got the Crash Ragnarok to move on to. See if we can get this out. All right, boys, we're gonna move on to the driver here. This thing is called Volcanic Dash, and it's your regular Volcanic with, of course, the improved spring. So I don't know how I feel about this. Volcanic is all right, but it's actually an inferior version of Hold. Hold, I think, is much better, but we got another Volcanic. That's kind of cool, I guess. Not a fan, though. And then we have the disc and frame again. This is a 5 disc with a cross frame, so another way to get cross. Cross is pretty good. 5 is alright, so not a bad combination. And then, of course, the Crash Ragnarok. So I actually love this layer. It's one of my most favorite layers of Chozi. This thing is pretty underrated. So it's actually really, really good for attack and stamina. So if you put this on the right parts, it is actually good. So that's good to see that there's another release of this, and you can't go wrong with this colorway. It's a nice kind of ghosty white color. It's awesome. And so now we're gonna put it together. And yeah, the Volcanic Dash does help this thing a lot. Crash Ragnarok on its own has pretty weak teeth, but of course with a dash driver, it's actually really good. So there you guys have it. And now we're moving on to finally another anticipated release. Okay, so I have a lot to say about this thing. I think we're gonna start off with the layer though. So this is Orb Aegis, and the shape is kind of reminiscent of Drasil, if you guys are familiar with that Beyblade. This thing has a beautiful design though, I'm not gonna lie. If you guys just see the snakes and then the head, it's beautiful. The colors are also awesome. It's like a nice light greenish blue with dark blue, and then just a lighter, or I guess a darker blue. It's just an awesome combination of colors. And then the metal surrounding it, everything just kind of complements each other. So definitely a beautiful layer. As for the teeth, I don't know what to say about it. Seems kind of all right, maybe. But yeah, overall, it seems pretty round, but also kind of bulky. I'm not sure if this thing has any use. I'd say maybe not, just because it might look too, or might be too recoily, but I could be wrong. There might be some kind of use for this. I do hope so, because it's a really sick looking layer. Okay, guys, and I just figured out that this thing actually has kind of moving metal balls a little bit. So these kind of move a little bit, and that's pretty sick. I wasn't aware of that. Now I just found that out, so that's sick. All right, and then now we have the disc, and there's a lot of hype around this disc. So it is called Outer. It was only released on Orichalcum, and if you guys are familiar with that Beyblade, that thing is rare as heck. So this disc was sought after because it's rare, but also because it's actually really good. It has a lot of good weight distribution, and it has a really smooth underside, so this thing is powerful for stamina. Now, this was a while ago when it was still like really sought after. I think nowadays it's a little bit outclassed, so it's not as sought after. But it's cool to see that Kartomi has provided a way to get this bad boy, because I still think people wanted to use it and test it out. And yeah, it's just a nice silver color. Like I said, interesting disc, and also very powerful. So that's awesome. And then we have the drivers. So this thing almost seems like a meme now. It is Quest, and this thing is really interesting in that the tip is literally a suction cup. So this is kind of like the tip of a Nerf dart, if that makes any sense, but in a driver. And then this thing free spins quite a bit. So I think the purpose of this is to like just grip on a stadium and spin by itself. So that's pretty insane. I don't think I've ever seen a Beyblade gimmick like this ever. So for Takatomi to make something like this is actually pretty awesome. It's also pretty tall. And yeah, it just, in the show, they make it seem like this thing's powerful, but I think in reality, it's just kind of trash, maybe. I don't see it being any good besides just for gimmick purposes. So yeah, that's pretty cool though. And putting this together, the teeth actually feel not that bad. They actually feel pretty good. So that's cool though. This Beyblade, like I said, very unique. Layer's beautiful. I think it might be good. Outer's awesome. And then Quest is just Quest. Nothing else to say about that. And now I've saved the best for last, of course. Chozy Spriggan. Everyone's hyped about this bad boy. Even your boy, your putty god. So we're going to get right into that. Alright, so this is probably the most hype release in a while, and you guys already know why. It is the Chozy Spriggan. I'm going to take all the parts out. Alright guys, we're going to get into it. We're going to start off with the driver this time. This is Zeta Dash. So this is actually exciting because it is a dash driver, but guess what? We can now use Zeta with just about any layer without worrying about bursting. So that is awesome. Seems to be that all the modes do work as they're supposed to. It is a little bit loose, but hopefully that's not too bad. But yeah, this is sick. Just, of course, another Zeta. I don't know why they went with Zeta, to be honest. I feel like they should have definitely given it another driver, kind of how like the new Valkyrie has Evolution. But I guess you can't go wrong with another Zeta. It's alright for what it is. I just really expected the new Spriggan to be a little bit more newer in that sense. And then we have the frame, which is wall. So there's been a lot of talk about this because it's really bulky and wide, and I think it's the heaviest frame to date. It's got a pretty simplistic yet awesome kind of geometric design to it, and just as the name implies, it's almost like a wall of a frame. It does reach a little bit downwards, almost too much, because it does end up scraping if you use it on shorter drivers. So that's just kind of a downside to this frame. But it seems pretty useful. I do think it will be good for like just taller drivers. And then we have the disc, which is 0. So can't go wrong with this disc. I also think that they should have upgraded the disc a little bit. I think we've had enough zeros by now. But hey, can't go wrong with 0. It's really powerful. It's one of the heaviest. And you can use it for just about everything you want to use it for, so that's sick. And then, of course, the Spriggan layer. So yeah, a lot of talk about this. It's very reminiscent of Requiem, but with a mix of Legend Spriggan, I think. So like Chozy Valkyrie, this thing has a gimmick to it. It has a burst stopper, and these points do come out, I believe, if you just launch it hard enough. I don't know if I could bring them out by themselves. Oh yeah, here we go. So I popped one of them out, and I can't do the other one. All right, here we go. So yeah, these things come out, and they act as little contact points and also burst stoppers. So it's pretty hard to burst this thing, I'm not gonna lie. And then just the layer itself, like it's a pretty interesting color combination, first of all. The red, the gold, the black seems very awesome, and it's also just wide as heck. This is one of the wider layers for sure. It's got a metal gotcha up in the center, and then on the bottom we see the gimmick. It's just a solid layer. Of course, the gimmick here is also that it's dual rotation, and it also comes with a neat tool here. So this is a nice little tool you can use that you can just switch the modes with. So that's very helpful. So just like any of the other Spriggans, you just twist this, and you can switch the mode from left to right. But we're going to keep it in right for now. Alright, so we are now going to put it together. And like I said, the wall frame is kind of like a downside, if that makes any sense. I think it doesn't work that well with this combo, just because wall does scrape a lot. And I'm just trying to put it on. So there we go. Okay. So, okay, those clicks are really tough, first of all. That's crazy. Anyway, if you guys just see, though, that gap between the tip of Zeta with the wall frame, it's very small. Therefore, when you're spinning this thing is going to hit, or it's going to scrape with the frame. So I hate to say this, but I'd probably recommend swapping out the frame for another thing, if not just going without a frame, because it would be probably much better without it. Alright, that's it for this unboxing, guys. Thanks for sticking around once again. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, guys, see ya.